I've always loved the symbolism of a tree. To me, it represents strength, roots, growth, and family. For years, I've worn a tiny silver tree pendant around my neck. I tell my kids that I love it because it makes me think of them. I didn't sign up to plant trees, but was glad to see it on our schedule. On Monday, when we planted 15 trees in the Village of Transformation, I was really struck by how excited the kids were. It would probably maybe compare to us distributing iPads here after the service. But I really didn't comprehend the magnitude of what we were doing. Wednesday morning, tree planting was on the schedule again. I woke up sick and grumpy and seriously considered staying behind. Eventually, I convinced myself out of my bunk, and as my feet hit the floor, I told myself, "Tracy, you don't even know what a bad day is." As the canter bounced up to the village of Petit-Lagunave, it was obvious that those words were very true. Petit-Lagunave was dusty and desolate, the homes were rickety, it was a heartbreaking sight. We'd seen poverty ever since we landed at the airport, but I don't think we'd seen anywhere this poor. We were greeted by the pastor and village leader, Ronnie. He was dressed to meet important people. I felt bad for him because all he got was a bunch of crackpots from Canada. Through a translator, he welcomed us to his village and thanked us for the trees that we were going to plant. He explained that trees represent life. These tiny trees would grow to provide food for the village, and they would ensure that our presence would remain long after we'd gone home. Ronnie and the people of Petit-Lagunave would be forever grateful for us and the 10 tiny trees that we had brought. His speech brought me to tears, and I struggled to control myself. Maybe it would probably help to know that I don't let anybody see me cry. We split into 2 groups that day, and I joined the one that was led by Ronnie. He himself, in his bright white shirt, tie, and khaki dress pants, heaved the pickaxe into the rocky earth, carving homes for these precious trees. I did very little talking as we maneuvered our way from house to house, up steep hills, on rocky, narrow trails. It occurred to me that these trees would provide nothing in the next 5 to 7 years but hope. My eyes just wanted to leak. Our contribution seemed so inadequate. As if that experience weren't heartbreaking enough, once we finished planting and blessing the very last tree, Ronnie led us to a long, narrow, rickety shack. I nearly fell over when my cousin Rebecca said, "Trey, make sure you get a picture. This is the school." Ronnie explained that he, his wife, and younger brother volunteer to provide the village children with a free education. Education is very important to the people of Haiti. They understand that there is no improvement without it. As we huddled in that classroom, it was blatantly obvious how much was lacking. There were no desks, no books, only 2 pencils, 3 tiny bits of chalk, 1 small chalkboard, and a couple of stools. Ronnie went on to share that he uses his extra income, and I believe he was using that term very loosely, to help to provide for the village's orphans, to ease the burden of the families who have taken children in. A more giving man I've not met. As we dispersed, Ronnie shook each of our hands. As he got closer to me, I pulled Mishlo, one of our translators, over and tearfully asked him to tell Ronnie that a piece of my heart had been planted with each and every tree that day. Then I broke my one rule on this trip. I let him into the hug-free zone. We held each other and just cried. The ride back to the compound was a somber one, and again I struggled to keep my tears hidden. I was bothered by how little we were able to give the people of Petit-Lagunave. Since we've been home, I haven't stopped thinking about our week in Haiti, and especially that Wednesday. Just the other day, I read words that kind of helped me to reconcile my feelings of inadequacy. Nick Vujicic wrote, "Hope is the springboard for nearly every step we take. Hope is a catalyst. It can even move obstacles that seem immovable. When you keep pushing, refusing to give up, you create momentum. Hope creates opportunities you never would have anticipated. Helpful people are drawn to you. Doors open, paths are cleared, action brings reaction. I was very wrong thinking that the trees we planted gave the villagers of Petit Lagonac hope. The people we met in Haiti have hope. Their hope is what brought us there. What we did was fuel their hope, and they gave us hope. And there's nothing insignificant in that. My lesson was learned. The week we spent in Haiti has taken this $30 necklace and made it the most valuable piece of jewelry that I will ever own.